trying to do something cute with my little picture that I put in my my videos, but didn't quite work out. There's been some sort of weird issue lately, but it doesn't matter anyway. Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 590. Bad cold. Not in that I have a bad cold, that I have the bad weather cold. Frozen polar vortex bullshit happened this week with temperatures disgustingly low. But that should all be over and done with because we're taking a look at the future of our weather, and it looks like January/February is back in session here. It's 27 degrees presently. 38 tomorrow, 41 Monday, 40 Tuesday, 46 Wednesday, 37 Thursday, 37 Friday, 44 Saturday, 57 Sunday, 63 Monday. So we're getting back up, and the lows, 11 is the lowest got today. It's going to be 26, 25, 30, 30, 23, 21, 28, 39, 48. So we can get to some warmer stuff. So we had been getting into fives. There was a 1 in there at one point. It was negative 13 degrees up in York, PA, not too long ago. It was 9 degrees as a high. It was like 11, 17 as a high. I don't think we got below 20. We got above 20 until like Friday. So it's been cold. But it seems to finally work its way out, and that's good. It is January 25th, 2025. This will be the last episode of Dylan Knows in January. January has been one of the suckiest months ever. It's been one of the suckiest years ever. It's continuing to get on and on. I'm not going to talk about the elephant in the room, about what happened on the 20th. We are now presently being ruled by a felon, and he's destroying America as we speak. So not going to get into that because I just would rather not think about that and get too upset about things. Anywho, what do we got today? Well, the big thing this week is the Academy Award nominations finally came out after being delayed due to the fires. By the way, the Palisades fire, which was the biggest and worst one in California, 85% contained. 1 week ago at this time, it was only at 25% contained, so they've done a hell of a job lately. Helps the winds haven't been a problem out there, and they got a little bit of rain in there. But so we got the Academy Awards. We got one of these gestating projects that have been gestating forever and gone up and down and has starts and stops. So that's finally getting another start. Sydney Sweeney, gotta love her. She's in here too. Hercule Dirkling, we're going to find out what that is. A killer African-American cast film based on a fantasy novel with a huge cast that's going to be fucking outstanding is coming up here. Talk about that. Another actor joins the insanity of Chris Nolan's Odyssey. The Auroras potentially could hit us again this week. Also, the planets are going to align tonight, tomorrow, so on and so forth. New Doom movie coming out, a video game coming out here. Robert Eggers got a bunch of stuff going on. Some weird food ideas, some trailers, some callbacks to old comic books. Uma Thurman's got a new job. We've got John Ridley is going to be writing and directing and adapting a science fiction novel, which is really cool. We find out what Will Smith's Matrix collaboration actually is. Bradley Whitford is joining one of his former castmates from The West Wing in their new show. The Lincoln Lawyer's coming back, and this time Nev Campbell's going to be there for good. Mountain Lions, Mountain Dew, Bill Condon, Sweet Pea, My 2016 Theory, 4.7 magnitude earthquake. Utah-Gavik, Alaska, gets some sun after 60 days. And we get our look at who Sinestro is going to be. Eggo Ice Cream, Rice Krispie Treats Ice Cream. Frasier is going downhill. Frozen Alligators. Oh, it's so great. We got a great show here going on. Before I hit the Academy Award stuff, just real quick, something happened this week. Polar Vortex, I talked about already. Felon of the United States, I already talked about that. Snow in the South. The South, which never gets snow, got nailed with more snow than Alaska has. Florida, Georgia, all that. So they got nailed pretty good. So don't tell me about climate change, you piece of shit. Oh, well. But it couldn't happen to better people because the South are a bunch of fucking racist, redneck, bullshit assholes. Not everybody is, Dylan. Yeah, I know not everybody is, but the majority of people are. The Ravens threw it all away again. They lost their football game to Buffalo 27-25 after missing a 2-point conversion. Technically, they missed 2. Mark Andrews dropped one, which would have been, which tied it up with a few seconds left in the game. The short-sighted shitbag Ravens fans started calling for his head to have him fire, stuff like that. I don't think he deserves to be fired. It was just a bad day. It happens. And the Buffalo Bills Mafia, who's always one step ahead of everybody else, has donated $100,000 to his what do you call it? His places he gives money to. I forget what it's. I forget the name. It's charity. His charity. So that's a lot of stuff there. The Washington Commanders, my other team and my wife's team, have advanced to the final, the divisional final. They'll be playing the Eagles, or winner that's going to go to the Super Bowl, and we also get the Chiefs and Bills going to the Super Bowl as well. I'll give you my take on that in a little bit. Ohio State is the national champion, so college football is finally over. It only took, they started playing in August, and now here it is January, so it only took that long to do all that. So it was a bunch of bullshit. So that's the big stuff going on here this week. This is kind of interesting. Joe Mixon, who is a running back for the Houston Texans, got fined for something he did not tweet. TJ Hushmanzada, a former Cincinnati Bengals player who no longer is playing, he's retired, tweeted out how he thought that the refs really screwed the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs Houston Texans football game. The refs or the NFL fined Mixon for what Hushmanzada said. And then Mixon's like, what the hell are you talking about? So he called him out. It's like, it wasn't me. It was TJ Hushmanzada. And like, we're going to fine you again. So that's a bunch of bullshit. So I hope Joe Mixon kicks their ass and maybe sues their dumb fucks. Because it's obvious TJ Hushmanzada, it's his name is right there. He didn't say Joe Mixon told me this. He said, this is what I think. And Joe Mixon was singled out. I was like, I didn't even say anything. What are you talking about? And then when he spoke up, he got fined again. That makes no fucking sense. So, whatever. I hope everything works out for him for the most part, because it really does. All right, so here we go. I do a Academy Awards prediction show. Usually I do it a few hours before the show itself, and I keep thinking to myself, I can't do that. I got to do it at least a day ahead of time so that people can see it and before the actual Academy Awards hits, and they can make their own determinations if they're in a pool or if they want to make their own picks, whatever. So I'm going to try to do it the Saturday before the Academy Awards instead of doing the day of the Academy Awards, and see if I only get like 2 or 3 views of it anyway, because it comes out and the Academy Awards is out. So, but here we are, our Academy Award nominations for 2025. It's in no particular order, so just bear with me here. Best Actor in a Leading Role. The nominees are Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, which is starting to get some heat on it now. It was supposed to be like a shoo-in to win, but now the director is defending his use of AI in the movie, so that's going to not sit well with some voters, I think. So we'll see how that works out. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, which is interesting. That's the Donald Trump film, which doesn't put him in a good light. But Sebastian Stan had a better role and I think a better man. He should have been nominated for that. But this could be a complete FU to the Felon of the United States. So that could be interesting. Actor in a supporting role, nominees are Yura Borzov for Auroras, Kieran Culkin, Real Pain, who to me is the shoo-in, but that's besides the point. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. So basically the same, well, almost the same, but a bunch of the same. Actress in a leading role, the nominees are Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Auroras, Demi Moore for The Substance, Fernando Torres, I'm Still Here. The Demi Moore one's really interesting because the Hollywood tends to not recognize horror type films. That could be a sign that they're going to, after all of her years of service, they're going to drop it to her, but we'll see. Actress in a supporting role, the nominees are Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana, Amelia Perez. I think this is also Zoe Saldana's shoo-in to win this one as well. I think her and Kieran, who won their Golden Globes, I think they're going to win their Academy Awards also, as they should. Animated feature film, the nominees are Flow, which I loved, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot, which is another good one that nominated. Animated short film, the nominees are Beautiful Men, In the Shadow of the Cypress, Magic Candies, Wander to Wonder, and Yucky. Cinematography, the nominees are The Brutalist for Lowell Crawley, Dune Part 2 for Greg Fraser, Amelia Perez, Paul Guillaume, Maria's Ed Lockman, and Nosferatu's Jaron Blashki. I think that one's going to win. But we're going to do that later. I'm just giving my 2 cents right now. Costume design, the nominees are Complete Unknown, Ariana Phillips, Conclave, Lizzie Christie, Gladiator 2, John T. Yates, and David Crossman, Nosferatu, Linda Muir. Another one might win, but Wicked might roll in here with Wicked, Paul Tay as well. Best directing, the nominees are Sean Baker for Auroras, Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. Again, just got busted for using AI in his movie, so we'll see how that rolls out. James Mangold for Complete Unknown, Jacques Audier for Amelia Perez, and Corley Fergit for The Substance. Documentary feature film, the nominees are Black Box Diaries, No Other Land, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. A documentary short film, the nominees are Death by Numbers, I Am Ready, Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Film editing, the nominees are Sean Baker for Auroras, David Jenksu for The Brutalist, Nick Emerson for Conclave, Juliette Welfling for Amelia Perez, and Myron Kirstein for Wicked. International feature film, nominees are I'm Still Here from Brazil, The Girl with the Needle from Denmark, Amelia Perez from France, The Seed of the Sacred Fig from Germany, and Flo from Latvia. So Flo has 2 nominations. Makeup and hairstyling, the nominees are A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Best original score, the nominees are Daniel Blumberg for The Brutalist, Volker Bertolman for Conclave, Clement Ducal and Camille for Amelia Perez, John Powell and Stephen Schwartz for Wicked, Chris Bowers for The Wild Robot. Best original song, the nominees are El Mal from Amelia Perez, The Journey from 6888, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Amelia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. Kind of cheating, but that's okay. Best Picture, the nominees are Auroras, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Production design, the nominees are The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Nominees for live action short film are Aline Enuja, I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. The nominees for sound, the nominees are Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Visual effects, the nominees are Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. The nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Best Original Screenplay, the nominees are Auroras, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, and The Substance. And there's your list. I thought this year was going to be the new Best Ensemble, but that's not next year. So all the movies coming out this year have the potential to be part of the Best Ensemble. First, the introductory Best Ensemble Academy Award coming next year. Not a lot of frontrunners so far, but it's still early on, so we'll see how the rest of award season goes till March. And then we'll find out for sure. Some snubs right off the bat. Margaret Qualley should have gotten Best Supporting Actress nomination for The Substance. John Chu should have gotten nominated for Best Director for Wicked. And my personal favorite, We Live in Time, got completely shut out. I think Florence Pugh should have at least been nominated for Best Actress. And Andrew Garfield could have been Best Supporting Actor. Should have won maybe for nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and a few other things as well. I thought it was the best movie of the year personally, but A24 dropped the ball on getting it out and getting the word out. Only made $14 million here in America on a very low, like 300 theater release, which is absolutely stupid. Now, it is a British film, so maybe that's why they were afraid it wasn't going to do that well, and so they sort of killed it. But Britain, the UK, released it on January 1st, 2025, so it'll be eligible for next year's awards, BAFTA awards. So I would assume that we'll probably see a lot of this next year, a lot of We Live in Time stuff, the BAFTAs for next year, God willing. David Lynch passed away last week. I talked about it on my show last week. And so it's been really nice. It's starting to die off a little bit now, but for about a week after he passed away, that's all I talked about was David Lynch on social media, which is great because he deserves to be talked about. I finally saw his short film, What Did Jack Do? I was seeing some clips of it where it's a 18-minute short film where David Lynch plays a detective who is interrogating a capuchin monkey who is thought to have killed somebody, and the capuchin monkey talks, and it is quintessential David Lynch. It is gorgeously shot, awesome set, fantastic story, very dreamlike quality as you expected. It is such a great little short film. Even when the monkey breaks into song, which is a little much for me, that might be probably the weakest part of the show. But I thought in general it was a really good movie in general and should definitely check it out. It's on Netflix. It's called What Did Jack Do? Well worth it. During the Ravens-Bills NFL game last Sunday, they released the first 1923 Season 2 trailer with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren, written by the guy who did Yellowstone, and it is basically a Yellowstone prequel, Taylor Sheridan. So, yeah, looks all right. The Auroras are supposed to peak a little bit, be a little bit heavier than normal this weekend, though no one has really talked about that much. It's not as big as it was last time this happened, but it is set to happen. Plus, as I told you before, all the planets are aligning within the next couple days. Supposedly it's supposed to be today, but I haven't seen pictures. It's like they're not really aligned. They're just sort of there. So I don't know exactly what they're talking about. Astronomers discover repeating radio bursts from a distant dead galaxy. So that's interesting. It's probably not aliens. It's probably some sort of black hole or some sort of X-ray burst of some kind, which is causing this to happen. But still kind of interesting to think, ooh, that's kind of cool that they're getting something they can't quite understand. Behind the scenes look at Supergirl, which is presently filming. It's just a real quick shot from the back of Millie Alcock as Supergirl. You didn't even get a really good shot of her, but you see her in her chair with her blonde hair looking like Supergirls, and then it was like sort of this neon sort of the set that she's on, so this neon sort of thing. So that's kind of interesting to see that is in process. They just wanted to say, hey, look, we are making it. Trailer called Mom. I didn't really watch it, so check it out for yourself. I don't really know much about it, but I figured I'd let you know. An 11-year-old discovers the Paul Skeens 1-for-1 card, and the Pittsburgh Pirates have been trying to give him everything under the sun to get the card, and he said no. So I don't know what he's going out for. Maybe he's going out for money. They were offering everything but money. So maybe we'll see what happens. I mean, he's only 11 years old, but who knows? Parents are probably behind all that. To be continued. The Toxic Avenger remake with Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood is finally going to see the light of day. Last year it was supposed to come out, but everybody was with the production company was worried that it wasn't going to do well, and people who had seen it said it was kind of a disaster. So they put it on the back burner, but then it showed up at some other film festivals and actually got better reviews. And plus with the Terrifier 3 doing really, really well at the box office when it came out. It was #1 the week it came out. And Toxic Avenger is apparently just as gory as Terrifier 3 was. So they figure, you know what? Let's try and see what we got. So Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood will be coming out in 2025. No idea when yet, but it will be coming. So Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is completely stacked. Let's just get a repeat of everyone who's in it. We've got Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, Lupita Nyong'o, and now add John Barenthal to the cast. He was just cast in that as well. And also apparently Tom Holland will be playing the lead in The Odyssey, not knowing if he's going to be Ulysses or if he's going to be from another perspective. I feel like I'm missing somebody, but I don't think I am. But that's your impressive cast right there. This story has been owned by Leonardo DiCaprio forever, and he's been trying a million different ways to get it done. First, it was going to be a movie. Then it was going to be a TV show that Keanu Reeves was going to star in, but then they dropped that out, and then it just sort of went away again. Scorsese's involved as well. So now, after a while, Scorsese and DiCaprio just looked at each other and said, let's just go ahead and fucking make it into a movie, and you can star in it. He didn't want to, but now he's going to. That story is Devil in the White City, written by Eric Larson. I actually read it. It's a really good book. It's a true story, based on a true story, much how like Killer of the Flower Moon was. So Scorsese's on sort of this kick of making these types of movies. But he's already got his, his Jesus movie, and is that Elvis one? Or is that a different, or is there a different musician? He's got, I forget who the other musician is, but he's got a actual, he's got the Jesus movie, and he's got another film about a singer. I think it's Elvis, but don't quote me on that. Or Frank Sinatra. That's what it was, a Sinatra. It was a Sinatra one. So Devil in the White City is based on a true story about Chicago when it built the national, what do you call it? Chicago. Fair, the World's Fair, Chicago's World's Fair, and everything that got put into that because they had to outdo the other World's Fairs that had happened in order for it to make money. So the book covers the creation of and the making of the Chicago World Fair, and it is a disaster, everything that happens to that. And it also has a secondary story about a serial killer named H.H. Holmes, who was working in the area while they were building the Chicago World's Fair. And he was basically letting out his house for people who wanted to go see the fair, and would end up sealing them in a wall and killing them. He was a serial killer who didn't kill them with knives or guns or anything like that. He sealed them up in walls and I think dropped chemicals or something in them and killed them that way. So it's an interesting story. It's a really good book. And we'll see how they're going to make it into a movie because there are two distinct storylines in it, and they do intertwine a little bit, but both are equally interesting. Though honestly, I found the making of the World's Fair was a lot more interesting than the story of the serial killer because it didn't really go into much detail about the serial killer. So, but it's finally, after being pushed on and off and start and stop, we're starting it again. We'll see if that continues. As I said, Scorsese's got a bunch of stuff on his plate. Don't know what DiCaprio's got a couple movies coming out here soon too, so we'll see what happens with that. But Devil in the White City is now a go film again. It's going to be a film directed by Scorsese starring Leonardo DiCaprio. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition or not. Considering Killers of the Flower Moon made it out in the film, it was like 3.5 hours long, something like that. I would assume they're probably going to do something similar with Devil in the White City. Hopefully they won't just release it on Apple Plus. Maybe they'll release it in the movie theaters. Maybe I'll check it out then because I don't have Apple Plus. So the fires are still going on in California, but they're not nearly as bad as they had been at the beginning of the month. So that's a good thing. But there's still tons of damage. And there's sad stories and there's frustrating stories, stuff like that. A sad story that has a happy ending is the family's pet tortoise has survived the Eaton fire, was found in Altadena, and has been brought back to his family, so that's good. One of the other sad things I just saw was 100+ animals are still not with their families after the fire. They're in various pounds and animal places as well. And a frustrating thing, reality shit show stars Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag are suing Los Angeles for the loss of their house due to the fire. Yeah, like LA's the problem, the reason why their house caught on fire, and how they've been trying to fight this fire with everything they got, and they couldn't save everything, and they weren't just going to save your goddamn houses when there's so many other people's houses that they had to save as well. They would try. It wasn't like they just said, "Oh, fuck them. That's Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag. Fuck their houses. We'll skip that." They didn't. They tried to save everybody's houses. So you're just a bunch of, don't have any. You're no longer famous. You're just a piece of shit. And you can just go to hell. You can go to hell and you fucking die. Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag. Fuck off, you reality stars. You're not really stars. Reality stars are a bunch of bullshit artists, shitbags, and we got one fucking leading our country right now. And it's fucking frustrating. So fuck off, you pieces of shit. This is going to go to a brighter side here. A bunch of bright side stuff here. High Potential has been picked up for a second season. I've been seeing clips from that. It's about a high IQ cleaning lady who helps the police solve crimes. The lead actress is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is interesting. Sydney Sweeney is set to star in A24's adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's Mask of the Red Death. She's got herself a full plate, and this is just adding to it, so we'll see when all this stuff starts coming out. A cow gets caught casually eating a snake in Australia. It was just eating it. It was just sitting there, and it's just a picture of a snake in his mouth. He's getting eaten. It's like, do cows eat snakes? What the fuck is that? So that was crazy to see that picture. The National Zoo has welcomed their new pandas. They have been finally, after their hiding out for a while and just getting acclimated to stuff, they are now released into the wilds of the National Zoo in their paddock, and so you can go see them out and about now in their paddock starting now. So if you love your pandas and you missed the ones we've had for a while, well, we got them back. So come on out and take a look at them. Herkel Dirkling is a Scottish tradition of lazing in bed that I think everybody should absolutely embrace, because Scottish know what they're doing. So there is a fantasy book called Children of Blood and Bone and it's a fantasy novel. It's hugely popular. It's a hugely popular series, and the majority of the cast are African Americans. And so a movie is finally being made, and it has got a stacked cast. Amandla Stenberg, Viola Davis, Cynthia Erivo, Thuso Bedu, Tosin Cole, Damson Idris, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Idris Elba, and Lashana Lynch have all signed on. That is a stacked fucking cast. And if it can be made very well, that's going to be a fucking huge ass hit. Mark my words on that. That's going to be a huge fucking hit. So keep your eyes out for the Children of Blood and Bone. They just got the cast, so it probably will not come out till next year. It's probably a 2026 film, I would bet. Probably a summer film. It's probably got a lot of special effects. They haven't started filming it yet. They've just got the cast down, so I would assume they're going to start filming it here soon, editing it, special effects, blah, blah, blah. It ain't going to be done until 2026. Plus, it has such a stacked cast, and it is going to be just a huge fucking hit. You got to find a good, solid date in 2026. It's not going to be affected by like an Avengers movie or something like that. So good luck to them. Rob Jabaz is set to direct the adaptation of Garth Ennis's horror comic Crossed. I was never a big fan of Crossed, nor Garth Ennis really that much, so yippee skippy, but here you go. We have the behind-the-scenes look at Together with Alison Brie and David Franco. New horror film, I guess. And to start the show, we talked about the Academy Awards, and we also get our Razzie nominations. Okay. All right, nominated for Worst Picture were Borderlands, Joker, Folie à Deux, Madame Web, Megalopolis, and Reagan. Worst Actor, the nominees are Jack Black for Dear Santa, Zachary Levi for Harold and the Purple Crayon, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Folie à Deux, Dennis Quaid for Reagan, and Jerry Seinfeld for Unfrosted. Worst Actress, we have Cate Blanchett for Borderlands, Lady Gaga for Joker, Folie à Deux, Bryce Dallas Howard for Argyle, Dakota Johnson for Madame Web, and Jennifer Lopez for Atlas. Worst Supporting Actor, the nominees are Jack Black, voice only for Borderlands, Kevin Hart, Borderlands, Shia LaBeouf for Megalopolis, Tahir Rahim for Madame Web, and John Voight for Megalopolis, Reagan, and Shadowland and Strangers. Worst Supporting Actress, we have the nominees are Ariana DeBose for Argyle and Craven the Hunter, Leslie Ann Down as Margaret Thatcher for Reagan, Emma Roberts for Madame Web, Amy Schumer for Unfrosted, FKA Twigs for The Crow. Worst Director, the nominees are S.J. Clarkson for Madame Web, Francis Ford Coppola for Megalopolis, Todd Phillips for Joker, Folie à Deux, Eli Roth for Borderlands, and Jerry Seinfeld for Unfrosted. Worst Screen Combo, any two obnoxious characters, but especially Jack Black in Borderlands. Any two unfunny comedic actors, Unfrosted, the entire cast of Megalopolis. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga for Joker, Folie à Deux, and Dennis Quaid and Penelope Ann Miller as Ronnie and Nancy Reagan. Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel, the nominees are The Crow, Joker, Folie à Deux, Craven the Hunter, Mufasa the Lion King, Rebel Moon 2, The Scargiver. Yeah, because you suck, Zack Snyder. Eat it. Worst Screenplay, the nominees are Joker, Folie à Deux, Craven the Hunter, Madame Web, Megalopolis, and Reagan. So there's your Razzies. So, moving on. A lot to talk about. Robert Eggers has got himself a career. First, got himself a time now. Nosferatu's got nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards. I don't think he got nominated for Best Director either. So that's another one that should have gotten Best Director, maybe directed. Did he get directed for Best Director? I don't think he did. Yeah, he didn't. So, okay. Didn't think he did. Robert Eggers, though, he is releasing an extended version of Nosferatu on Blu-ray. That should be out now or very soon. He is writing and going to direct a 13th century horror film called Werewolf. So yes, it will be a werewolf film set in the 13th century, which could be really interesting, actually, to be honest. And then he is also still set to write and direct. I thought it was a Labyrinth remake. It's actually, they're calling it now a Labyrinth sequel. So we'll see how that all plays out. Doom was one of those great video games in the, I guess, 1990s, early 2000s that just, it's a POV first person shooter where you go to Mars, which is now been overrun by monsters, and you gotta take them and shoot all these monsters up with different weapons, stuff like that, and not get killed. So it has a new video game coming out called Doom: The Dark Ages, set to debut May 15th, 2025. So we'll get some more Doom here in a little bit. Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner, who was his last chance, have all been signed on to the Baseball Hall of Fame this year. So they are going to be going to the Hall of Fame. We got our first look at the behind the scenes of The Ugly Stepsister, which is on its way to Sundance, which is occurring this weekend as well. So I haven't heard much about this movie. So we'll probably hear more about it if it sells particularly. Benedict Cumberbatch says that Doctor Strange will not be in Doomsday, but will be a major central role in Secret Wars. So we'll see how that all comes out to play. Talamasca teaser trailer, which is a new Anne Rice series on AMC. We got our first teaser for it, so there you go. Drop the movie trailer. Don't know much about that either, but that came out. I think it's just called Drop. Send Help taps Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams in a horror film directed by Sam Raimi. Hell of the Summer trailer. Finn Wolfhard stars in and co-directs this horror comedy about a group of older 20-somethings who go to a summer camp and get stalked by a killer. So obviously kind of a homage to Friday the 13th, but it's called Hell of the Summer. Rumor, absolute rumor, nothing's been written in stone. Nothing has been officially announced. This is a rumor. If true, is actually a very brilliant decision by Netflix. The rumor is, again, stressing, rumor is that Stranger Things Season 5, the final season of Stranger Things that everybody's been waiting for now for about 2 or 3 years, is set to debut and release all their episodes, I believe, on November 27th, 2025, which happens to be Thanksgiving, which makes absolutely perfect sense to drop a huge series, the final season of a fan favorite series with 8 episodes, all about 2 hours long, about 16 hours on a holiday when most people will have a 4-day weekend. It makes absolutely 100% perfect sense. If it does remain that all 8 are released on Thanksgiving and they are all about 2 hours long, that makes it about a 16-hour fest. That means you can watch 4 hours a day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and be done by the time you go back to work on Monday. Obviously, you're going to probably watch more because you'll get hooked on it, but you could conceivably watch the first 2 episodes, the next 2, and the final 2 over the entire Thanksgiving weekend, because probably 85 to 90% of people who aren't working in retail or in like gas stations or grocery stores or places like that, doctors, nurses, hospitals, stuff like that, police, fire, all that, are probably going to be off or going to take off that Friday after Thanksgiving. My company gives us that Friday off. My wife's company gives them floating holidays that they can use for any time that's not part of their regular vacation, and most people use it for Black Friday. So big rumor. Don't quote me on that, because there's also a rumor that Wednesday is set to debut the week before Thanksgiving. Again, you're not going to drop 2 of your most highly sought after shows a week ahead of each other. It wouldn't make any sense to do that. I'm hoping when it comes to Wednesday, they go into the October mode instead of November. Throw it in around Halloween. That should be probably more brilliant also. So you get about a month before Stranger Things comes out. It works. Everybody's happy. And get Sandman in there also in September. So you got Sandman Wednesday and Stranger Things. Boom, boom, boom. Or even move Sandman to December. I'd be okay with that too. So something like that would be great. So we'll see how that actually works out. But it's a rumor right now. Nothing has officially been announced, or nothing will be announced probably for a little while. So we'll see what happens with that. We got our first look at Richard Linklater's new film, Blue Moon, starring Ethan Hawke, Margaret Qualley, and Andrew Scott. It is set during the opening night of the play, the Rodgers and Hammerstein play, Oklahoma, which is the first one they did together. Its premiere show, and I think it's Rodgers's ex-partner is there, which is causing some issues because he left him to work with Hammerstein, and they make this hugely popular Oklahoma, which at the time they didn't know was going to be hugely popular. But that should be an interesting film, particularly with Linklater, Ethan Hawke, and Margaret Qualley, and Andrew Scott in it. So we'll see closer to that. No date for when that's coming out yet. Probably sometime this year, but don't quote me on that. We get our first, our new Mickey 17 trailer. That one is finally officially going to be released in a few months. Soaposaurus soap dispenser is a soap dispenser that looks like a dinosaur. I just thought it was something cute to do. 0 Days official trailer. I saw just the teaser. I didn't see the official trailer, so I'll have to go back and check that out. But that's an interesting show that Netflix has got planned with Robert De Niro. It's about conspiracy theories, supposedly about a computer sort of hacking thing. Netflix has also announced 11817, directed by Louis Leterrier, who directed the Hulk movie with Edward Norton and also one of the Fast and Furious movies. Set to star Greta Lee and Wagner Monu as a couple who are sealed in their house. Survival sort of thing. Ryan Gosling of Barbie fame is eyeing Sean Levy's Star Wars movie, so he might become a member of the Star Wars family. Kate Hudson, Brenda Song, who is Macaulay Culkin's wife, and Max Greenfield have been cast in Running Point, a new series. I don't know where it's coming from. Debuting February 27th, about a female sports writer and about basketball, particularly. So we'll see about that. Harlan Coben's next Netflix limited series is Runaway, with Ruth Jones, Minnie Driver, Alfred Enoch, Lucien Mizamati, John Pointing, Ellie DeLange, Adrian Greensmith, and Ellie Henry. Not much sure about what that's about, but there we go. Post Malone is set to get a Post Malone Oreos, which will have different designs on it, but it's supposed to be a salted caramel flavored cream, which I think is awesome. So we'll have to check that out definitely. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, though, is going absolutely insanely bonkers. They are releasing Cinnamon Toast Crunch Totino's pizza flavored cereal, which makes absolutely no fucking sense to me, but okay. Here we are. Pizza flavored cereal, really? And Cinnamon Toast Crunch is doing it, really? Yeah, it doesn't sound good. A giant butt snow sculpture appeared on the grounds of the Nelson Atkins lawn. Don't know what Nelson Atkins is, but it was a giant butt, so that's kind of funny. First death this week goes to Garth Hudson. He's the last remaining member of the band. The band. He passed away this week. Anniversaries. We've got the A-Team debuted 42 years ago this week, the TV show. And Cloverfield debuted 17 years ago this week. So this page is done. Moving on to next. Yellow Jackets Season 3 trailer debuted this week. A full trailer. Set to debut on Valentine's Day of this year, 2/14/2025. My Baltimore Orioles are reducing the price of their concessions. They're creating a value price menu and have a good amount of stuff on it, so that's good for people who want to save some money. Natalie Portman is rumored to be, again, another rumor, but David Filoni is trying to really get her to do this. Natalie Portman is rumored to be joining Hayden Christensen in Ahsoka Season 2, which is going to have multiple flashbacks to when Ahsoka was still younger in training and when he hadn't gone to the dark side yet. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. Well, we need to have Natalie Portman reprise her role. I think that'd be kind of cool. Chris Claremont is penning a sequel to his Wolverine and Kitty Pryde miniseries that came out almost 40 years ago. But he's now going to release a sequel to it. So that's good for that. EFIS trailer about a baseball team. Again, didn't watch really any of the trailers this week, so I'm just giving you the information about that. Talked about Ethan Hawke. What about his ex-wife, Uma Thurman? She's actually been sort of quiet for a while, but she's coming back with a vengeance. She has joined the cast of the Dexter sequel, not to be confused with the Dexter prequel, which is currently wrapping up its first season with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Patrick. Oh, God. Dempsey. Patrick Dempsey. As the big names on that. This is a sequel to the actual Dexter series of Michael C. Hall. He had his 7-season show, and then they did another mini season where he ends up dying at the end, and this is Dexter's Resurrection. So somehow they're going to bring him back to life, and Uma Thurman is joining the cast of that, so that could be interesting. March 19th, 2027, Sonic 4 will be debuting in movie theaters, so good on that. We get our first look at the Opus trailer with John Malkovich from A24. Again, didn't really watch too many trailers this week, so check it out for yourself. John Ridley will be adapting Isaac Asimov's Caves of Steel, which could be really interesting to see a sci-fi film from Isaac Asimov. Godzilla vs. Hulk and Godzilla vs. Spider-Man comics are coming, have been announced. Godzilla attacked the DC Universe last year. He is attacking the Marvel Universe this year in a number of one-shots. Teacup has been canceled after one season. New live-action How to Train Your Dragon trailer debuted this week. Comes out June 13th, 2025. Selton Mello, Daniela Melchior, Ione Skye joined the Anaconda reboot with Jack Black and Paul Rudd. We thought Cinnamon Toast Crunch's pizza cereal was bad. How about Skyline Chili flavored ice cream? Skyline Chili apparently is one of these really cool. Oh my God, you got to eat it. It's a localized thing. I think it's up in Philly or something like that. or Ohio or some bullshit. I don't know, but they are making a Skyline chili flavored ice cream. And look, it does not sound appetizing. Neither does pizza cereal. But I can't say anything because my state created Old Bay ice cream, which is disgusting also. So I don't know about that. The Lincoln Lawyer has been renewed for a 4th season, and Nev Campbell, who sort of was just a minor role in the 3rd season, has coming back with a vengeance and will become a full-time cast member again with this 4th season. The White Lotus has also been renewed for a 4th season. 3rd season will be coming out here very shortly. Armor Wars, the War Machine standalone movie that was going to be a TV show, but now standalone movie, is being delayed till now after Secret Wars. So we'll see how that goes, because they didn't think that Secret Invasion didn't do that well, so they thought it'd be something similar. So they're going to retool it. So we'll see what happens about that. Kelly Marie Tran and David Dastmalchian are set to star in the psychological thriller Kodak Super XX. My Dead Friend Zoe trailer, again, don't know much about that. Came out this week as well. Bradley Whitford is joining the cast of The Diplomat as the first gentleman, opposite his former West Wing co-star Allison Janney, who plays the president on that show. Will Smith has been teasing a Matrix thing sort of going on, because he was originally going to do The Matrix, but he turned it down, and Keanu Reeves took it over, and the rest is history. So, Will Smith is coming back with vengeance. He's been teasing a Matrix sort of combination. People thought it was going to be a Super Bowl commercial. We finally know what it is. Will Smith, who, as you all remember, started off his career as a rap star, is going back to music after a few years. He hasn't released a new album in a really long time, so he's finally getting back into that. He's doing a collaboration with Big Sean, and the first song is called Beautiful Scar, and it's set to debut January 30th. I guess it's a collaboration album. I guess they'll be working together for the whole album, and this is the single from it. And the video is a Matrix video, which has Will Smith playing Neo and Big Sean playing Lawrence Fishburne's character. So that's what all that's about. So it's good to see Will Smith going back into music there. Brookies and Cream, Ben & Jerry's new ice cream flavor, has vanilla, brownie dough, cookie swirls, and white chocolate chunks in it. Sounds interesting, but that is a new one. Keep an eye out for that here. Supersonic jet stream winds 130 times faster than a Category 5 hurricane here on Earth have been discovered on exoplanet WASP 1276. So you would not want to get involved in that. 130 times faster than a Category 5 hurricane wind, which is like in the 200 mile per hour wind. Just think about 130 times 200, and you get the wind speed on WASP 1276, which I know is just a category name for the exoplanet, but that's kind of a cool name for the planet, WASP 1276. Anniversary, Dawson's Creek debuted 27 years ago this week. Death's Bobby Cuellar, who I thought was a lot more famous than everybody knows. He passed away this week. Major League Baseball pitcher. Christopher Benjamin, a Doctor Who co-star, died at the age of 90. He was in the old school Doctor Who. And Pete Medhurst, longtime radio voice of Navy football here in Maryland, passed away this week as well. Brad Pitt and David Ayer are teaming up for a new film called Heart of the Beast. It's a survival thriller, which seems to be the new thing nowadays because so many films that I talked about today have survival themes to them, and there's other ones coming up here soon too, including the Anna de Armas Sydney Sweeney film as also a survival film apparently. So Godzilla X Kong 2, the new Empire, did so well that it's getting a third film, Godzilla Kong, third film, and they've already started casting. Caitlin Dever has joined the cast of this. I didn't even know it was even being thought about right now because they want to get through the Monarch TV show, and then I think it's set to debut in 2027 anyway, so it doesn't matter. But they figure, why not? Let's do that. Scary Movie 6 is set to debut June 12th, 2026. Lanterns is set to start filming on February 13th, 8 episodes, and is expected to release before Supergirl, which comes out next summer. So we're looking probably at the first quarter of next year to probably see Lanterns come out. I do have another Lantern story. I don't know if it's on this page or but I figure I've connected to it. I will. There it is. Ulrich Thomason is set to play Sinestro in Lanterns, so he will be in Lanterns. So good on that. Sweet Pea has been renewed for a second season. That's Ella Purnell's other show she does. A mountain lion that made a school go into lockdown turned out to be nothing more than a fat cat. Not joking. That's the actual story. Would have been a good last one, but I still got a whole nother page of work to talk about. Bill Condon is set to direct a musical / acting version of The Kiss of the Spider Woman to star Jennifer Lopez, and is debuting at Sundance this weekend, hoping that it'll get bought and be distributed maybe later this year and potentially for an Oscar run. So probably be, if it gets picked up, it's obviously done. So obviously it gets picked up now at Sundance. It'll be released probably in time for Oscars of next year. But Kiss of Spider-Woman won John Hurt his Oscar like 30, 40 some years ago, and no one has heard from him since. Kiss of Spider-Woman, I mean, not John Hurt, who passed away. So it's kind of good to see a remake of that. I talked about Neil Gaiman's issues last week. Dark Horse Comics is stopping his comic book that he was writing because of his allegations. So they've shut all that down. A 4.7 magnitude earthquake has hit off of the coast of Oregon. Continuing the something's happening in the Pacific. Suits LA first trailer debuted this week as well. Again, didn't take a look at it, but okay. Fantastic Four Fanfare is a series of short stories featuring the Fantastic Four by different creative teams that have worked on the various Fantastic Four comics and have worked with them before, telling new stories just in time for the Fantastic Four movie coming out in July. Utgiagivik, or was known at one time as Barrow, Alaska, which does not get sun for 60 days during the winter, finally got its first sun. Got its first sunlight sunrise in 60 days this week. So spring's coming to Utgiagivik. Is Billy Corrigan of the Smashing Pumpkins the half-brother of Bill Barr? He believes that they are because they look extraordinarily similar in many ways, similar to how Woody Harrelson, or rather Matthew McConaughey, believes that Woody Harrelson is his half-brother also. That's kind of an interesting sort of continuing story, so we'll be following up with that. But Billy Corrigan and Bill Burr, if you look at them together, oh my God, they do look related in some way or another, so we'll see what happens with that. Mountain Dew has got two new things coming up. First up, one of my favorites, Mountain Dew Voltage, is getting a rebrand for May 2025, which means it'll probably be coming out more again. There's you can get them. You can get the 20 ounces at like gas stations, stuff like that, and you can get a 12-pack. Not all the time, but I can get one up at the Food Line up the road a little bit near Westminster, but not down here. There's none at the Giant, Safeway, or Weiss in the area. So Food Line is the only one that has that. So I'm assuming with the rebrand, they'll be re-releasing it in 12 packs and stuff like that. So we're getting a sort of a new take, a new voltage release, as it were. And their Walmart has an exclusive. It's like Polar something or other. They are stopping that one, but they're going to be releasing a new Walmart exclusive in June called Mountain Dew Dragon Fruit. So that's going to be a new one for only be able to get at Walmart. I'll do my 2016 theory in a second, but let's hit some anniversaries here. From Dusk Till Dawn debuted 29 years ago this week. Breaking Bad debuted 17 years ago this week. Split debuted 9 years ago this week. Rambo debuted 17 years ago this week. The Count of Monte Cristo debuted 23 years ago this week. Death, Jerry Mazzanti, an NFL defensive end, died at the age of 84. D. Junk, a two-step and walk it out singer, died at the age of 43 this week. Jeff Toberg, former Chicago White Sox manager, passed away this week. Cecile Richards, a former Planned Parenthood president, died this week as well. And Don McCall, NFL running back, died at the age of 80 this week. All right. Oh, and Tremors is 35 years ago this week, anniversary. So fantastic. All right. I came up with this theory a while back. Not a while back. A while back today, earlier when I went to get Chinese. 2025 sucks ass. It is so far that January is the worst month ever, worst year ever right now because of all the shit that's going on. And all this shit has been going on since 2016. Nothing but horrible bullshit for almost 10 years now, all due to the Felon of the United States and his MAGA people and COVID and just the January 6th stuff and Russia invading Ukraine and just totally other, just tons of awful other things. Which leads me to also, real quick before I get into my theory. So we have the Chiefs versus the Bills for the AFC Championship, and we have the Commanders versus the Eagles for the NFC Championship. No one wants to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again because they're sick of the Chiefs. They're sick of their attitude. They're sick of how the refs give them all the calls. Nobody wants to see the Eagles because Philadelphia fans are obnoxious a-holes when it comes to stuff like that. So nobody wants to see a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. Everyone wants to see a Commanders-Bills one because Bills Mafia is really cool. As I said, they raised $100,000 for Mark Andrews, a member of their opposing team, for his charity. And they've done that a bunch of times for other people as well, even people who, beat them and stuff like that. They've been doing stuff like that for them. And the Commanders are just a good story in general. They had a shitty owner for so long, and they were mediocre for so long, and now they have new ownership. They have a new young rookie quarterback who's going to win Rookie of the Year, a killer wide receiver who never got to show his potential until he has a good quarterback, which is this year. And he's still in his prime, so we got a lot of stuff to do in that. And they got a ton of cap room. They got a lot of draft capital. They got some good free agents in. Not spectacular, but they got some good ones in just to start lay the foundation, and they made it to the championship game. So it's a good story. But because I'm cynical, and because 2025 sucks ass, and because everything is shitty, we are going to be getting a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. I guarantee it. And that's going to piss me off more than anything. I don't want to see it. I know the only people who really want to see it are the fan bases. It will be a disaster. It'll be a terrible Super Bowl. And it's just, I'm so sick of it. Eagles have been in it a lot recently also. Their fan base is obnoxious. The Chiefs are just a complete and utter disaster. They are a terrible team. But because I'm cynical, and because 2025 sucks so much, and because everything sucks so much right now, we are going to be getting an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl that nobody wants to see. I guarantee you that's going to happen. And it pains me to say that. I hope I'm coming back on here next week and saying, I'm wrong, thank Christ. I'm not going to. I'm going to say, haha, I told you. So why does everything suck so much, Dylan, since 2016? Not only because of all the stuff I just mentioned. Well, I have a theory. The rapture. Everybody thought the rapture was going to happen in 2011. They had a date, they set a time, and everything, and it didn't happen. And then the Bible states that you're never going to know when the rapture is going to occur, and you never know what you think the rapture is going to be like. It's what people described in the Bible. What the rapture is going to be is the blessed are going to be flown into heaven, and the people on earth are going to live through 100 years of darkness. My belief is that the rapture occurred in 2016, but instead of people floating into the air and disappearing who were worthy, they just died. Because remember, 2016 had one of the worst celebrity death years ever. Alan Rickman, David Bowie, Carrie Fisher, I can't think of it. Prince, I think, was in there as well. And Marabi, the monkey. Let me see if I can take this 2016 deaths. Alan Rickman, David Bowie, Glenn Fry, Abe Vigoda, Gary Shandling, Gene Wilder, John Glenn, Nancy Reagan, Dan Haggerty, Harper Lee, Merle Haggard, Muhammad Ali, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Alan Thicke, Carrie Fisher, Elie Wiesel, Gary Marshall, George Gaines, George Martin, George Michael, James Gare, Prince. So that's just a sampling. And then there's also who else died in there? It was the young guy from Star. Anton Yelchin died as well. Alan Rickman, Anton Yelchin, Carrie Fisher, Lisa Gay, Gene Wilder, Alexis Arquette, David Bowie, Robert Vaughn, Margaret Whitten, Michael Massey, Debbie Reynolds, Patty Duke, Ron Lester, Doris Roberts, George Kennedy, Gary Marshall, Vanity, Abe Vigoda, Gary Shandling, Michael Kimono, Ron Glass, China, Zsa Zsa Gabor, John Polito, Kenny Baker, Florence Henderson, Alan Thicke, Dan Haggerty, and then I just told you all the other ones: Prince, Fritz Weaver, Liz Smith, Curtis Hanson, William Christopher, Bill Nunn, Jack Riley, Alan Young, Robert Horton, George Gaines, George Michael, Larry Drake, Richard Libertini, Nancy Reagan, who might not have been the best, Frank Sinatra Jr., but a lot of famous people, Muhammad Ali, a lot of people that, Marnie Nixon, Andrew Sachs, Glenn Fry. Just I have a bunch of any other really famous. We'll get into the heavier. But Joe Lasky. So just a lot of these famous people, just Arthur Hiller, and just some of them were good people. So my thought was that 2016 we had all these deaths, and then the whole felon in chief in his first presidential term, and then all the shit that happened to that. So my thought was that the rapture happened in 2016, but nobody was float up in the sky. Everybody who was okay died and went up there. Now, people died obviously 2017 to today, and also I want to think maybe my stepdad might have died in 2016 also. I think about it, so maybe 2017, but it was close enough though. And from that point on, we are living in 100 years of darkness right now, because everything that's happened since 2016 for about almost 10 years, there has really been nothing great where everything seemed to come together just fine, because we seem to be doing okay the last 4 years with President Biden in charge. And then, people came together for certain things here and there. But it was fleeting and didn't affect people in a lot of ways. And just everything just kept going to shit. So that's my theory. I think we are living in the 100 years of darkness. And I think that things are never going to get better in my lifetime. And yes, I'm also cynical. I believe that we're going to have a shitty Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl that nobody wants to see except for the fan bases. Because 2025 hates me, hates us, hates everybody. And we are in the hell dimension. So there's that. Moving on to good stuff. Greta Gerwig's Chronicles of Narnia to hit IMAX on Thanksgiving Day of 2026. So we got that coming up. It said literally going to happen on Thanksgiving Day, but I would assume you're going to probably put it on the 25th, the Wednesday before. Suzanne Bier is set to helm Practical Magic 2, which apparently is going to be a thing, which is great because Nicole Kidman's having sort of a renaissance, and Sandra Bullock really hasn't done much in a little bit, but it'd be nice to see the two of them together again. Eggo flavored ice cream in flavors blueberry, buttery maple, and chocolate chip will be coming out soon. And Eggo ice cream sandwiches with those same ice cream flavors, but instead you're going to have waffles on top of that with the ice cream in the middle. Those are coming out here soon. Also, Rice Krispie Treats will be having an ice cream as well, and they will be having ice cream sandwiches as well with the Rice Krispie Treats with the top in the middle will be ice cream there too. So it could be interesting. I want to try the Rice Krispie Treats ice cream. I like the Rice Krispie Treats coffee creamer, which hasn't come out for a while. And the Eggo coffee creamer was okay also. So those are kind of good, but it'd be kind of interesting to have Eggo ice cream and Rice Krispie Treat ice cream. So the summer, I'm guessing. So we'll see what happens with that. Anniversaries. Den of Thieves came out 7 years ago this week. The sequel did very, very well. Came out last week. From Dusk Till Dawn, 29 years. Did that already. Okay. Death. Barry Michael Cooper died at the age of 66. He died here in Baltimore. He is the writer of the Harlem trilogy. He wrote New Jack City, Sugar Hill, and Above the Rim. And he calls that his Harlem trilogy series, all pretty decent movies. And he will be missed. And we're down to the final stretch here. It's not going to be an hour and 37 minutes like I thought it was. That'll be my last story. Frasier does not get picked up for a third season by Paramount, so it is being shopped now. I don't expect anyone else to pick it up. I don't think Peacock will pick it up. I don't think Apple Plus will pick it up, and I don't think Netflix or Prime is going to pick it up. So I think Frasier's done. Henry Cavill is officially a father now. Good for him. Dollar Tree will be selling DC Comics for $1.25. Don't know if they're going to be recent ones or ones that have been out for a while. I don't know, but they will be starting to see comics in Dollar Trees here soon. A Toronto restaurant changes the name of their entire menu to like office things. So you can write off your dinners there as a business expense for your taxes. Pretty cool about that. Before we get to the last story of the week, Anniversaries Beverly Hills Ninja debuted 28 years ago this week, and Teeth debuted 17 years ago this week. Teeth is an absolutely creepy film about a woman whose vagina has teeth. Not kidding at all. Finally, the last story for this week. We did have the deep freeze and the snow down south that they weren't expecting, and basically hell froze over. It happened the week that the Felon of the United States came into power again. So it's obviously a sign that someone's not happy with the crazy weather down south that they're not used to. But a frozen alligator was spotted in a South Carolina pond due to the snowstorm. Picture was taken of it. All it is his head frozen in place over a frozen pond. Now, I read the article. There's nothing to be worried about. He is a reptile. When it is extraordinary, it doesn't matter if he's been living in the South for so long. His body is still a reptile, so he's still going to have reptile abilities, despite the fact that he's been living in a warm climate for the majority of his life. So when reptiles get into extreme cold, they basically shut down all the systems in their body and basically go into hibernation. And a lot of times they also put their heads above water and just sit there just to breathe and don't move due to, being sort of in this state where they're in hibernation. And that's what this alligator was doing. He's not dead. He's not going to die. He's just hibernating until things warm up, and then he'll go back to just swimming and being his normal alligator self. But because he is a reptile, that is the best way for him to protect himself. So he's shutting down all of his stuff and just freezing, just staying right there, and he's fine. He's going to be fine. He's going to be. They can stay hibernated and not eat for like a full year, they say. So it's only going to be a couple days, and then everything's going to melt. He's going to go back to normal. It's going to be warm again, and things are going to be fine. So just kind of neat, though, to see, that things are affected by what's going on in the world. All right. It is 12:35 a.m. It's 26th of January. This was the last episode of Dylan Knows for January. My next January episode will not be till 2026 if we survive that long. So we'll see you in 2026. Other than that, next week's episode will be on February 1st. Yeehaw! Day before Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. So I don't think we have anything going on. I think we have the scout dinner that day, but that is it, which would be basically kind of the anniversary of when I got my my kidney stones, because I was a scouting dinner that I was going to meet them, my family there, because they had to go set up early, but the pain was just too unbearable for me. Ended up going to the ER, and that was the first of my experiences with the kidney stones. So hopefully we'll not have a redux next week. Other than that, just have to keep surviving. The Felon of the United States is trying desperately to kill us all, and he's doing a pretty good job of putting things into motion that's going to kill us all. So yeah, that's just great. So thanks for watching. Next week, as I said, February 1st comes roaring in with temperatures in the 60s. So we're in for a treat. See you guys later.